The mitochondrion is the powerhouse of the cell, or so I've been told. Maybe we'll find out for sure today on Won't You Be My Gamer. I'm Elise Willems.
I'm Nicole Zawalich.
And today we're joined by Dr. Jay Phelan, who is the professor of biology at UCLA. We're going to talk about whether we use more than 10% of our brains. Spoiler, we do.
We do all the time.
Okay, that's a spoiler. And also whether Darwin was right. I know he had some competition.
He did have some competition, and he was right on so many things.
Another spoiler.
Sorry. Oops.
Nicole, will we be learning more about this in the game we are playing today?
You know, I assume everything we learn will be completely factual. That'll be up to you to tell us if that's true. But speaking of cells, we are at the cell stage, the very beginning of the game Spore. The first thing we pick is herbivore or carnivore. Now, when I play, I pick herbivore because I'm an herbivore. Mm-hmm. But should we do carnivore?
Well,
should we be bad?
Dr. J, it's up to you.
I think carnivore is more exciting.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Okay, we're going to play on easy because I know my limitations.
As a professor of biology, what is your main focus? To tell us where we came from or who we are?
I'm odd in that I'm a generalist in biology, so I write a textbook every chapter. So I kind of am, I don't know, the generalist of specialists. But yeah, I want people to understand, why are we the way we are? Why do we look the way we do? Why do we behave the way we do? Why do we get excited about some things and not care about other things? So practical things I care about.
So why would we want to play video games at all?
Yes, yes, but they're successful because they know certain things about human nature that are going to be like, oh, I keep improving. If I play a little bit longer, I'll do more. And so we get just this nice little trickle of dopamine over and over and over again. So it's safer than drugs. Everyone complains, oh, we don't have any attention span anymore. Watch someone play a video game. They could sit in their chair for 14 hours.
Oh, yeah.
So I think there are some answers here.
I can hyper focus hard.
Yes.
Yeah, my dream play sesh is minimum 8 hours.
Yes. Yeah, and you don't even think about anything else. So if we could figure out what's at the core of why that's good, I could be such a better teacher.
I don't know why it's good, but disassociating is definitely part of it.
Do you know what Nicole is? Is that
So
you?
you're the
that
little
thing?
I'm this little
that's in
cell.
the stream, and
Yeah.
you're trying to scoop up. Oh,
I
be
got bit.
careful.
What is that?
A bigger organism.
Yes. Okay, but you're eating stuff.
I'm
and-
eating stuff, yeah. The reddish stuff is is a meat option.
Okay. Oh, I see. Right.
And I'm slowly gonna
Look
get
out
bigger.
for that.
Is that your brother?
You just got eaten.
I did, but apparently it was good.
Really?
Yeah, I'm rewarded now. Life is crazy.
What is kind of like the one introductory thing you teach all your students when it comes to, biology 101?
Every class I teach has take-home messages.
Mitochondria is the
And
powerhouse
No,
of the
no,
cell.
I
Okay.
tell them no on that one. I did tell them, this was a low point just yesterday. I said a big take-home message for their lives was eat more fiber. It was on nutrition and digestion.
I take fiber and I do chia seeds.
Oh,
I have
chia seeds are great
I have
for you,
very
yeah.
high cholesterol, even though I'm a vegetarian
Same.
for 21 years.
Yeah, it's all about
Genetics.
bad genetic luck. Yes, you've got the wrong receptors that don't pull the cholesterol out. It's not your fault.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Can people do things to really overcome their bad genetic luck?
That's the
Yeah.
biggest question is that trade-off back and forth. And given that you already got the genes, there's nothing you can do, and you can't alter your behavior in your world. You have to. But how much wiggle room do you have? Not very much.
So this little spore that Nicole's playing as in this game,
We're getting bigger.
there's not much it can do than what it's been preconditioned.
Yes, so
for.
at that level, they don't have a built-in flexible program to deal with lots of stuff. They're like, eat, avoid bad stuff, move around, find more stuff to eat. Like, it sounds like a dog, right?
Yeah.
And maybe when it gets bigger and gets a bigger brain, it has to have the ability to deal with unexpected stuff. That's where we get the flexibility. Like, oh, I'm going to go running, or oh, I'm going to watch what I eat. Oh, I'm going to not do things that are bad. I'm going to sleep more, all that. But at this level, no, the program's controlling almost everything of what they do.
From what we're seeing here, does this look scientifically accurate to you?
It actually does.
Okay.
There's a big random element of bad stuff happens, and sometimes it's because you did the wrong thing. A lot of times it's because bad luck. So it does look good.
It's telling Nicole to call a mate to enter the cell creator. What What does
Yeah.
that mean?
Things are getting interesting.
I'm calling mate, which means I send hearts into the universe, so just like real life.
Like a mate to procreate with?
And that's what's
Is this
happening.
accurate?
This is
Yes,
happening right
yes.
now.
Well, you hear
before our
about
eyes.
things like gypsy moths, and they've got their antenna system, and from 2 miles away they can hear if Nicole's throwing out hearts, and they can home in and hook up. So yeah, that is realistic.
So every time you basically mate in this game, you create a new one. And each time you create a new one, you unlock and have the ability to kind of start to alter your cell. And so because I'm a carnivore, I think I'm going to add spikes
Ooh, yes.
to attack.
Yes.
Or defend. Is it too?
Right. Yeah. Protect yourself.
No, it's to attack.
The lobster head is weird.
Yeah.
The lobster butt. Oh,
Okay, I can add lobsters on the side.
yeah, that's cool.
Is this biologically accurate?
No, this is just
Three
highly,
mouths?
highly problematic. The 3 mouths is problematic. And the general idea that you have an individual that's evolving.
Right.
We don't do that.
We evolve as a species.
Yes, the population over time changes. So if you check in and sample who's there and what do they look like, they're different. But you can't follow one person, like you're going to look like this forever, and you're going to not have additional mouths. But in the population, maybe we do, and that's a huge misconception. Yeah, that's the Lamarck, that you do these things, you work out a lot, so now your kids are going to be muscular, and no.
So what are these mass changes that have to occur to change in a species over time?
The people that are producing more offspring have to be different than the people who aren't. So, people go online, they're looking for taller. So if that's really what's happening, then taller is going to happen. The traits are going to change that are the ones that make you more successful at producing more offspring.
Yeah, I'm getting just attacked.
Oh, yeah. What are all these things supposed to be?
These are just like other cells in this kind of petri dish of life that I'm
What's that big
operating
thing
in.
with like
Ooh, yeah, with
double
the big eye.
eyes?
It's related to you. It
me.
looks like you.
It's called
So I was trying to get that little piece, but what he was trying to do was devour me. He succeeded.
You mentioned Lamarck earlier. Can you talk a little bit about that ideology in science?
Lamarck was a scientist around Darwin's time, and his idea that he's famous for is inheritance of acquired characteristics, which just means stuff you do while you're living, that's how your kids are going to look. And that's not how genetics works. Stuff you do while you're living changes your body, but it doesn't change your genes. So it was a wrong idea, but for some reason we've picked him as the poster child that we're going to keep teaching about him and his wrong idea. It's like if someone took your worst day and that's what you get remembered for, they keep bringing it up. But it helps people understand then how evolution really does work, that it has to be already in the genes for something to increase its market share in the world.
Okay, so Lamarck was the what not to do, but then Darwin was the
Yes.
what to do.
Yes, and so Charles Darwin on the flip side said, there's lots of variation, and kids look like their parents, and if some are better at passing on, making copies, making babies, offspring, then if they're better than others, then over time, whatever traits they had, we're going to see more of those.
I always wonder what someone like Charles Darwin would think about social media or technology and the ways that as a society it might be reshaping us.
Darwin was an odd guy, and I like him because he was very modest and quiet, but he didn't like socializing. He didn't like going out. He was very uneasy to be in the limelight.
He's not on MySpace. I mean, none of us are at this point, but he especially.
He is the opposite of almost anyone you'd see on social media, where he's looking for less self-promotion. But he had people who were his friends, and they understood, hey, this idea is pretty clever, and it explains a lot of stuff, so they would push it for him, and he almost got scooped. Someone else had the idea at the same time, his idea of how evolution works, and he did write to a friend that it felt like a stomach punch. All my originality will be smashed. So he cared, but it's almost like maybe he would have been a lurker. on social media, that he cared about it, but he didn't like to be out there making videos every day.
Sure. He wasn't a famous YouTuber type.
Right. He would not be an influencer.
He also had some religious qualms. I think maybe his wife may have had that made him not want to explore the truth of evolution quite as much.
Well, the whole worldview at the time was that everyone was put here at the exact same time, all the species, and they don't change over time, and we don't lose species. That's the worldview. And his idea was that species could change over time, but that had weird implications. It said, oh wait, so we weren't like this when we were put here. So what's that say about the creator? We used to be different. And he was uneasy. A lot of people think that's why after he had the idea, he waited 20 years before he published it. Many people think that he didn't like the idea that it was really gonna just mess with people's ideas about existence and their religion and all
right.
that.
It did. It completely altered everything.
It still does.
Yeah.
Yes.
The idea of the evolution of fruits and vegetables sits worse with me than animals and creatures.
Do you mean how we've made them
yes,
really good
modified
for
them.
us? Yes,
Yes.
And they don't look at all. You see a banana in nature, and it's this little tiny thing.
Oh yeah, no, no thank you. I couldn't possibly eat that.
You have people in agriculture thinking people want to eat. People would much rather have a juicier orange than a tiny shriveled up dry one. So while everyone else is debating or fretting about stuff, they're just like, all right, let's measure every one we get, and the ones that are the biggest and juiciest, we're going to use them to reproduce the next ones. And we're going to get all of the plants to be more productive and more efficient. And I like that. I like a good juicy orange or an apple that doesn't have too much fiber in.
Yeah, well, except you're telling all your students
you want
to
fiber, but I
fiber.
don't want it to be stringy and stuck in my teeth, or I want it to last longer. I want my bananas not to go rot really quickly. So if they can figure out how to breed a longer, fresh fruit, I'm okay with that. I don't have any standard messing with evolution is bad.
Well, it's funny to think in the 90s when we got into the genetic engineering of food, and there was this whole controversy of tomatoes and Monsanto and everything.
Yes.
And now that's a blip. Who would even think of that to be an issue?
And I think about that. One of the most important things about scientific thinking is that it tells you when you should change your mind, when you're just wrong about what you think. And I was sure that genetically modified foods, there was going to be some terrible horror movie stuff happening, taking a gene from this species, putting it in another one. And so far now, with tons of studies on a lot of different organisms, that never really panned out. It seems that genetically modified foods, you may not like them for other reasons, but in terms of safety and health, they are more or less okay. So at least for now, I've changed my mind. I'm like, okay, I don't have a problem with that.
There's no tomato with a mouth being like, kill me.
Exactly. Yeah. My food is not yelling at me or I don't know, parasitizing me.
I just got eaten again.
Is this the type of game that you would recommend to your students to as an example, or you think this is way off base?
I think we haven't gotten to the meat and potatoes, per se, of this game.
And I was going to say that sure, it has problems, that you have the individual evolving. If I could get them to first write me a nice little essay that says, here's the major misconception this has, but let's set that aside, put a pin in it. Now let's watch which things are important and how they're manifesting in the future. Yeah, I think that is good. I would say, yeah, go for it.
I think we just found out what your next homework assignment is going to be.
I've turned a video game into something boring. Well done.
Or they could watch Won't You Be My Gamer.
Yes.
At least.
Right, we do it for you.
I guess I ate enough matter that I'm now evolving.
Okay.
You're on the path to sentience.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Sentience, overrated?
Sometimes troubling.
No, I think really things get interesting that way. They do that with, theory of mind. They want to know if animals are aware that they are an individual as opposed to all the other ones. And they'll do things like they'll put a mirror up and they will anesthetize the animal and they'll put some mark on it. And then when it encounters the mirror, they want to know if the animal sees that and it's like, oh, that's me. And almost all species don't have that. Mm-hmm. We do. We're very good at it. But that's why I think things do get interesting when you get a little bit of a theory of mind, a little bit of sentience.
Yeah. Nicole, can your cat Minerva recognize herself in the mirror?
She cannot. She ignores me constantly.
Dr. J, this may come as a surprise to you, but I was kind of a weird kid. And I don't know why, maybe around age 6, I thought it'd be a fun experiment to put some food and things in a little container, and then including bread, and just put it in a drawer and forget about it for months. And then of course I just rediscovered it covered in mold, and my mom got really mad at me.
I did that too, but under my bed. I would make potions and leave them under my bed.
Is this just a natural curiosity?
Or the sign of a genius? What do you think?
I think both.
Yeah.
Definitely. But in all seriousness, I am perplexed by this thing. We talk about at college, you have all these students that are, their first words to me in class, if they have a question, they're like, I'm not a science person, but, and friends in my everyday life, I'm not a science person, but, and then they go on to talk about it. But if you look at kids in grade school or 6-year-old kids, they're all doing these little experiments. They're all trying to figure stuff out. They are a science person. And then where is it? What teacher tells you that you can't do it, or you're not good at it, or it's only for the nerdy kids and that's
Or you
bad?
lose that curiosity.
I don't know if you lose it. I feel like it's beaten out of you
Yeah.
by people, because if you start talking about nutrition or behavior or genetics or exercise, everybody's super interested in it, or what their kids are going to look like, or how they should parent. So they have the interest, but they've been convinced, at least I think that's it, that it's not for them.
Well, I think especially of like women of our demographic and generation, like too, there's a gendered aspect of it as well, which was like we were maybe pushed away from that or discouraged or some way, or you feel like, that's a whole loaded.
Yes, I think that's definitely true. However, now it feels, and I just recently saw data that among people getting PhDs, at least in biology, that I believe the majority are female.
I love that.
And if
Women in
not the
STEM.
majority, it's very close. And then it can solve itself. All of a sudden, the students have plenty of role models to look at least that one issue of it. And maybe then it's going to seem like, hey, it's okay to put old food under my bed.
So the lesson
Still
is we
do.
never should have stopped.
Yeah. Well, I love, as an adult now, rediscovering that curiosity. And video games, I will say, as the critiques we've had against this game aside, there are so many things about video games that open you up to these worlds and these fields that you don't normally get to be open to. And the nexus for this show, as our producer, Andy, came to was, yeah, let's get into it. Oh, so we have legs now.
We have legs.
And we're out of the fluid. We're on land.
We're out of the fluid.
We're out of the
Well, I
fluid.
didn't know it-
Yeah, no, well said.
I didn't know if it was water or I don't know.
Step 1, get out of the
Get out
fluid.
of the fluid, yes.
Step 2, get legs.
Get legs. Now we're moving.
I'm not positive if this is attacking them.
It might be a friend.
No, I believe I just killed them.
Oh,
Okay.
I get those two things mixed up.
Yes, it's a fine
friendship.
line. Keep your friends close.
And your enemies for dinner.
you are on your way to a bigger brain.
Oh, good. And a smarter you. All
Yeah, that's
right.
good.
Now I gotta eat this guy.
A bigger brain is good. It's always good.
If humans' brains continue to get big, is that just going to be a bigger and bigger problem for giving birth?
And is
It's tricky.
That seems like a big one.
is that a lingering effect of like early hominids that carried to humans for 12 months? Are we asking you too much, Dr. J?
Well,
Should we go back to the ooze?
these are tough, but you are right. A bigger brain is good, and that's probably what has made humans so successful. But giving birth to a big brain kid is dangerous and painful. So that is problematic. But we could just evolve wider hips, or such a big brain that we figure out how to do a C-section. And so forget about having it pass through the birth canal.
Right.
Cut it open and pull it out. And if that turns out to be just as safe, suddenly there are no constraints on how big the brain could be. Right now, obviously, a surgery that involves anesthesia and all that is dangerous. But as that gets safer and safer and safer, then that could be a way that you free up the constraint on how big can the brain be at birth, and without there being a downside of, oh, you're at risk of dying when they deliver the baby.
That movie Lucy with Scarlett Johansson, that the brain only uses 10% of its potential. Is that BS? What's up with that?
Yes, that's one of those biology things that just irritates me to no end, because what does it even mean? We only, like, if you put an MRI helmet on and you look at what's being active, all sorts of stuff is active all the time. So this idea that you're just shutting it down.
Some synapses aren't firing.
No, they are firing. They're storing memories, or they are monitoring aspects of nature. People say that just because we see this variance in how good people are, some people are at solving problems, and other people are not very good at it. So you start thinking, oh, well, maybe it's because you're not using all of it. It's just that there's a lot of variation, I think, but never do you see part of the brain, oh, it's shut down, it's not functioning right now, to save energy or something like that. No.
Okay, so my brain is being used to its full potential right now, is what you're telling me. That's disappointing.
No, to its full potential, I didn't say. I'm just saying that it's not some physical thing that parts of your brain are shut off and others are being used. Certainly, people can get better at using their brain. They can get more efficient at it. And there are even some studies that say if you do certain things a lot, that part of your brain responds and it gets better. Cab drivers have this part of the brain, the posterior hippocampus, that keeps track of visual maps and memory. It's significantly bigger, and it gets bigger from when you start being a cab driver. So when you learn the knowledge in England, 25,000 streets, that has an impact on your brain. So the stuff you do, all this video gaming, that's going to cause certain parts of your brain, remembering rules, learning rules, cause and effect, to get better. That's why I would never say blanket policy video games are bad. I think that they're making your brain better.
I think I'm smarter now at this moment. And
love more.
And there's some love happening. And I'm ready to lay an egg or have a cell.
We're going to have to blur that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
All right. Well, we'll have to explore this next time.
Thank you so much, Dr. J, for coming on this evolutionary journey with us. We appreciate you for answering our questions.
It's been exciting and exhausting.
Where can people learn more about you, follow you, read your work?
They can go on Amazon and find my books.
We've got some here.
Here we go, yes.
We're going to get ready to learn.
Yes, but easy to learn. They're
Mean
fun,
Genes.
easy to read, yes.
Oh,
From sex to money to food, taming our primal instincts. So it's about how you can have a more satisfying life.
Charles Darwin meets Dear Abby. I love it. This is right up my alley.
Yes.
I'm absolutely going to read this. And then, of course, you have What is Life, a guide.
Yeah, less of enjoyable book club ringing, but
I mean,
I got dibs on that.
really? Are you taking this? Okay, well, I'm gonna
We'll
borrow
have to trade.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
Nicole, how can people support us and make sure we keep making Won't You Be My Gamer?
Well, we are on PBS SoCal, and we are on Instagram, we are on YouTube, we are on TikTok, and you can like and subscribe, find new episodes every week on YouTube.
And don't forget to go to pbssocal.org/gamer, and you'll see where you can support us from there. Well, I think we still have so much to learn. So we'll see you next week, right, Dr. J?
yes.
In the meantime, I guess I better get to reading.
Get to reading.
Do your homework.
This could be a long night.